she's Chimamanda Adichie, I think it's because of those public readings that she has become this prominent Chimamanda Adichie. So what I'm saying is this: when you do what the great Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie does, you too might become your own David Lawal, who would be, internationally known like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. One other thing I think we also need to do is that we need to show people the real life dangers of a poor personal reading culture. We have to say that often and again. And then we ought to keep on asking the question, what can reading do for you? Last year, I spoke at the National Library. Actually, I went to the radio station to enlighten the community about the reading culture. And I actually gave an acronym that stated the benefits of reading. R, reading refines you. E, reading empowers you. A, reading accelerates you. And D, reading dignifies you. So, and I can remember that even this year, I was still one of the speakers at the leadership campaign that they did. I spoke to those young people about something else that it's not easy for me to remember, like that READ, but it was also very memorable. So those are some of the things that we ought to. So what I'm just trying to say here is this: that we, more than we market our books, let us market reading. If not, there is a market resistance that will keep on making our marketing efforts to almost be in vain. And then the final suggestion I want to give to us, I told you two suggestions. The first one is, more than we market our books, let's market reading. The second suggestion is, let's be writing plus writers and authors. By that I mean, let me state it again and then I'll say what I mean. Let us be writing plus writers and authors. I read a book by John C. Maxwell titled Talent is Never Enough. And that book really changed my life. And I think as authors and writers and even artists, we need to read that book. Talent is never enough. We just feel like I have the gift and the talent and the discipline to put down what I need to put down. But there are other things that will make what we do to be more glamorous. Here is it. I don't think writers and authors very much see themselves as emissaries of enlightenment in a nation. You see, back in the day when Aristotle used to sit in the marketplace, and all they would do for Aristotle was to sit him down in the marketplace and toss questions to him. They would pick his brain, and from his thoughts, they would shape the democracy of the day. They would shape the education of the day. They would shape the culture of the day. The thinker was the celebrity of that time. But now, it's not really the case, because Aristotle was not only a thinker, he was a thinking plus thinker. He was a thinking plus philosopher. He was seen as a leader. So it is time for us as writers and authors to begin to see ourselves as leaders. We must dress the part. We must talk the part. We must polish our own communication skills. If we do it in Yoruba, we want to do it like this gentleman. I wish I could express myself the way he does it. And I know that this poet also is going to do an amazing job. So let us polish ourselves in the language with which we write and express ourselves at the apex of it. I was still coaching Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She was lamenting over the fact that our own Igbo had become anglicized. And then she said this, that Igbo language, when it is best spoken, it is poetry. So the Yoruba language, when it is excellently spoken, it's poetry. Pure poetry. How many of you love the way they do the news in the morning? You love it. You can listen to it, and it's very entertaining. They bring all of the Yoruba adages into it, and all of the Yoruba sayings into it. So the point I'm making here is this: let us polish ourselves. Let us get the leadership skills. Let us get the marketing skills. Let us dress the path. Let us be writing plus writers and authors. The progress may be slow and the progress may be fast, but I can assure you that it will definitely happen. If you and I can really be people, more than we market our books, we market reading, and people who are really writing plus writers and authors. I would like to end with a poem by Charles Bukowski. The title of the poem is So You Want to Be a Writer? That's the question. So I would read the poem right away. If it doesn't come bursting out of you, despite of everything, don't do it. Unless it comes unmasked out of your heart, and your mind, and your mouth, and your guts, don't do it. If you have to sit for hours staring at your computer screen, or hunched over your typewriter searching for words, don't do it. If you're doing it for money or for fame, don't do it. If you're doing it because you want women in your bed, don't do it. If you have to sit there and rewrite it again and again, don't do it. If it's hard work just thinking about doing it, don't do it. If you're trying to write like somebody else, forget about it. If you have to wait for it to roar out of you, then wait patiently. If it never does roar out of you, do something else. If you first have to read it to your wife, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend, or your parents, or to anybody at all, you are not ready. Don't be like so many writers. Don't be like so many thousands of people who call themselves writers. Don't be dull and boring and pretentious. Don't be consumed with self-love. The libraries of the world have yawned themselves to sleep over your kind. Don't add to that. Don't do it. Unless it comes out of your soul like a rocket. Unless being still would drive you to madness or suicide or murder. Don't do it. Unless the sun inside you is born in your heart, don't do it. When it is truly time. And if you have been chosen, it will do it by itself. And it will keep on doing it until you die or it dies in you. There is no other way, and there never was. So that's the way we can continue. Thank you so much.
So much appreciated. Thank you. Any question, please? Any question, please?
There is.
Number one. Number one.
I really appreciate your presentation, sir.
Thank you, sir.
My first question is that I want to ask the
Sir,
solution.
your name, sir?
I'm Hassan Kenny. The solution to stammering or inability to speak eloquently.
Okay.
So that's first. Another one is that when I was young, I met some older people. They read more than dozens of books, more than 100 books. Then later I realized that they couldn't express themselves in the simple sentences. So that's where the grammar comes. So I want to know why. Because they read a lot of books, at the end of the day, they couldn't express themselves. Either they were reading or writing. So I want to know why. That's
Thank you. All right, solution to stammering. At least I know of some people who were stammerers before they became very good speakers. And let me shock you. And here's one truth I like to tell my speakers when I'm training them, just to encourage them. Because you see, I tell people, if you want to get confident before you start speaking, you will never speak a single day in your life. I often tell people again that the proper way to conquer your fear of speaking is not to target killing your fear of speaking. The proper way, then I will go into 3, I don't have time for that today. But the whole point I'm making is very simple. When it comes to expressing ourselves, really, it's about a belief in your mind. You need to believe that your mind is sophisticated enough to produce words that are both enlightening and valuable enough to the people who listen to you. You see, life is beyond just saying do it. You need to have a psychological underpinning for what you want to do. Because people need to know why they act the way they do. So for me, I believe that it has to do with a mind-mouth coordination. Just like Ben Carson said, that the reason he would become a very good surgeon was because he had eye-hand coordination. So the reason people are good orators is because they have a mind-mouth coordination. So in the case of the people that you were referring to, who have had a lot of things in their mind but could not express those things through their tongue or through their pen, they couldn't be powerful on the stage or on the page. The only place they gain their power is when they are lost in a place of adventure within many written words. So the biggest issue for them is the very fact that they did not practice. Yeah, they felt that, it's still that issue about the single story. And there was something I wanted to say earlier that I often tell my people, even Obama is a stammerer. Do you know that? Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
He's a stammerer. But when you talk about some of the
started
greatest-
off as a stammerer.
Exactly. And even up till now, he still stammers. Get Obama
And Joe Biden.
And Joe Biden. In fact, Joe Biden's stammering is still very established, So Joe Biden's story is even more established than Obama's one. Now, if you get Obama like on a show and it's not reading from the script, you will hear him stammer over and again. For that reason, Obama is a slower speaker than many other speakers. If you notice, just listen to him. You'll notice that he speaks more slowly than any other speaker. In fact, I believe that Obama's wife is a better speaker than him. But Obama is one of the greatest orators. Why? Because oratory is not just the rapidity of your expression, it is the punch that your word actually places upon the heart of those who listen to you. So if you want to stop stammering, believe more in your mind, slow down, get clearly what you've got to say, and then say it. But then if you've not really gained that much mastery, I would encourage that you do more of your speaking from the scripts. And then over time, you'll get really good.
Thank you.